Hi, this is Jen Mitchell Love from Solace Divorce Mediation. And one of the most common questions I'm asked from people who reach out and schedule an initial consultation with me to go through a mediated divorce. And I do that through Solace Divorce Mediation. But one of the most common questions is, okay, is this a real way to get a divorce? Is this really the way to get a divorce? Because I've heard that you have to go through court and you have to do all of these things in court in order to get a divorce. And so this video is focused specifically on litigation versus mediation. And I do have in this Solace University the Divorce with Love masterclass that is 3 hours and 39 minutes of me sharing every aspect of the legal process of divorce, all of the aspects of the emotional process of divorce. And so that's much more of a deep dive. This video is just to share with you just basically the similarities and the differences. And I have been an attorney for the last 19 years. The first 9 years of my career, I actually served in the court system as a litigation attorney, advocating for my clients' best interest as their zealous advocate, as if they were an island of one when as we all know, when it comes to marriage and relationship, there it is never an island of one, especially of course when children are involved. It's a family, it's a forever family. So litigation and mediation. So the way kind of you can think about these two, and as I shared, I'm an attorney, I'm also a mediator and a coach and a guide. And so litigation is where each of you, or you can try to do it on your own, but most commonly each of your one can have an attorney, one doesn't, whatever. Most commonly you each go into the litigation setting with a family law litigation attorney, so you each retain your own attorney and you sign an agreement. You probably pay a retainer of like $5,000, and in your agreement, it's laid out what the billing is. And most commonly, your litigation attorneys are going to bill in 6-minute increments, and the hourly fee is going to vary based upon the number of years experience they have. Now, in the courtroom setting, that litigation setting, your attorneys are ethically obligated to serve you and represent you as your zealous advocate, which means that your attorney could be disbarred, lose their license to practice law if they don't do this. And so, with that means that they're going to be your zealous advocate and argue for your best interest and your best interest solely as if you're an island of one. They can't think about the impact this has on your children. They can't think about the impact of what their pleadings, in the form of various motions, asking the court for what you want, what's in your best interest, what's best for your kids, whatever your attorney is filing. They can't think about the impact it has on your spouse. And so the bigger picture, of course, when it comes to divorce, that if you are in this space, is that, when children are involved, you're always a family. You're always a family. And now you and your spouse are shifting to a space of co-parents. And so it's important, I feel it's important to really share love with one another when we're going through this difficult time, in the form of the spouses sharing love and really being intentional and mindful of what relationship space you're going into next and what impact this is going to have on the kids. In the courtroom setting, you can't do any of that. I couldn't do any of that as a litigation attorney, because in court, it's the same Supreme Court. So litigation, mediation, we have the same Supreme Court that, in every state is different. But basically, what the Supreme Court is saying in every state is, if you have minor children, you need to do a co parenting course. If you are going through a divorce, you don't have minor children, you do have minor children, it doesn't matter. 100% across the board, everyone must do a financial disclosure, which is sharing every asset and every debt that is currently owned, and then supporting it with a current statement. So that's Supreme Court. Supreme Court, same in litigation, same in mediation, same rules, same guidance. You have to do the same thing. Okay. We also have the same law. So the governing law in your state, it's going to be the same law that applies inside of court in the litigation setting where your attorneys are fighting, same law inside of court as governs outside of court using mediation. So we have the same Supreme Court, same law, same documents that need to be drafted eventually and submitted to the court, which, if you have minor children, judgment for dissolution of marriage, parenting agreement, financial agreement, along with all the other documents that need to be generated on your behalf. But those are the three main ones. That's in litigation. You are coming up with the terms of your documents by having your attorneys file motions on your behalf, respond to motions being filed by the opposing counsel, and arguing for you on your behalf again in the litigation setting. Everything takes so long. When I was litigation attorney, I'm like, oh my gosh, why is this taking so long? And why are we doing one thing at a time in divorce? And why is my opposing counsel not working with me? And of course, when you think about it, it's like, well, why would your opposing counsel work with you? Honestly. And for all of you out there that are thinking about going through a divorce that have these very strong programs of like, I need to hire an attorney and I need to go to court and I need to fight and it needs to cost a lot of money and my kids need to be negatively impacted. I need to hate my spouse, blah, blah, blah. All of that is not true for you. It does not need to be true for you. Yes, it has been true for millions of people because millions of people before you have made the choice, which it is a choice. They have made the choice to use this broken family law court system, which totally disempowers you because you are not able to speak your truth in that setting. You have your attorneys speaking for you and billing you in 6-minute increments. And then you have a random stranger who, of course, looks very important, sitting elevated at the front of the courtroom, wearing a robe, answering to judge. Of course, that person looks important. That person's an attorney too. And that person is making all of the decisions for you, totally stripping you of your power to make decisions about your children and to make decisions about the marital property that you have worked so hard to accumulate. And it's your life. This is your family moving forward. These are your children. This is your family. This is your stuff. This is your life that you are creating. In the courtroom system, you are giving all of that away, all of your ability to speak your truth, all of your ability to make the decisions that are best for you and for your family, completely away to strangers. And circling back, why wouldn't my opposing counsel work with me? Why would they? Why would they? When they are billing in 6-minute increments, and these attorneys, they have their own life, they have their own kids. Most of them, they have their own dreams. They want to go on their own vacations. Why are they going to settle a case? Why would they do that? Why would they do that? Now their 6-minute billing increment is totally dry. It's totally gone. It's like, and there's always stuff. There's always stuff that you can argue when it comes to divorce. And so I'm sharing this with you from a space of love that is what that system is, and that is a choice. Absolutely. I don't personally understand why anyone would make that choice. I don't get it. I think 5% of divorce cases need that system. And I think those 5% involve real abuse, where people are really afraid about their safety, about their children's safety, financial abuse. We're talking about abuse cases that need the guidance of a judge, that need the court to intervene and make sure that everything is happening to make sure everything is safe, everyone is safe. Those cases, 5%. They need to be in court. I understand that. And the problem right now is that every judge's docket in the family law court system is overflowing. And so those 5% that really need the judge, they're being shadowed by this 95% of divorce cases that are using the court system because they believe they need to. And I'm sharing with you from my heart space because I love you and I want us to shift as a human consciousness into a happier space of living where we are focused on this earth and our children and our well-being, and everyone is living their life purpose and everything is in alignment and amazing. Okay, that is why I'm doing all of this. I'm here to serve. I'm here to share with you the truth. The difference between litigation and mediation, in mediation, I am a mediator. That's where I use my expertise now. And I will share with you in that space, I am a neutral. I am a guide. I am not here to say this is right, wrong, good, or bad. I am not here to make a ruling. This needs to happen. That needs to happen. No, I am here to guide. And in the space of mediation, we don't have any of that noise, any of that stress, any of that chaos, any of that fear, any of the craziness of the courtroom setting. It is gone. We don't have to be to court every 45 to 60 days for a status. So our attorneys can bill us 3 hours to basically tell the court that you're working on a settlement when you're not. We're not doing any of that. In mediation, the spouses, the two parties to the marriage, you are being given this really beautiful sacred space. And I'm talking about solace. That's the space that I know and love. That space I created. I have not mediated anywhere else, so I do not know how other mediation practices um, function and navigate, but I can share from an intimate, understanding of Solace and the way she is. The Solace Mediation Zoom room, it is a sacred space. I always encourage all of my clients, create a space that feels good for you, that feels safe for you. Light candles, light incense, have crystals, have animals if you have pets and they help make you feel good. Invite them in. If you have plants, make sure you have water, some snacks like tissue, whatever you need to really give yourself the strength to speak your truth, because that is what we are doing in mediation. Instead of in court, where your attorneys are speaking for you and arguing for you, and a judge is making the decision for you, in mediation, the two of you are being guided. So at Solace, I guide my clients through all of the legal conversations that we need to have. Because again, we have a Supreme Court, we have a governing law. This is a legal process. We need to come up with the terms of the judgment, the parenting agreement, if minor children, financial agreement. And so, of course, that's the space that I hold, as I'm guiding my clients through all these legal conversations. And you're also given space to speak your truth, and again, the governing law, best interest of children for the parenting agreement, and most commonly, and in the mediation space, fair and equitable for the money agreement, and agreements. And so in the mediation space, you don't have the stress of the attorneys. You don't have the stress of the judge making a ruling. It's you and your spouse that are coming up with the terms of these documents. And of course, like when kids are involved, you and your spouse, you're the parents. You're the parents of these children. Of course, better than anyone else in the entire world. I don't care how important they look, sitting elevated for the courtroom. And I'm not meaning to disrespect judges at all. I am stating a truth that the two people who are the best authorities to determine what is in the best interest of their children are the parents. Hands down. You know this. You're a parent. You know your kids. You know this. I know you can do it. I know it seems scary, but that's why I'm creating Solace University. I don't want it to be scary anymore. It doesn't need to be scary. It is such a profound transformation in your life, and in growth and empowerment, in really learning who you are and what you want, and creating stronger connections with everyone in our life. And of course, same with the financial agreements. It's like you and your spouse are the two people who've worked your butts off your entire marriage to get this marital inventory. Of course, you are the best authorities to determine what is the most fair and equitable way to divide it. I mean, the two of you all the variables. You've been in the relationship since day one. You know every single thing. It's like, of course, you are the best authorities. And I feel like, litigation versus mediation, the energies of the two, litigation, very disempowering, very fearful, power, control, greed. It's like, it's so intense, the energies in that space. Mediation, the energies are more about mindfulness, intentionality, being kind to one another, recognizing that this relationship is an important relationship in your life because you've learned so much about yourself and you're a totally different person today than you were the day before you met them, and having so much gratitude for your partner, for all of the growth, for the whole journey, and shifting into another space with intention as well of like, what do we want this to look like and feel like for us in this relationship? How do we want our children to feel in this container? Yeah, I think litigation versus mediation, it's like mediation is all about empowerment, about growth, about healing, about love. And litigation is all focused on the past and the energies of disempowerment and victim. That really is it. It's like victim versus empowered. It's like those are the energies, and that is your choice. Is how do you want to feel? How do you want to experience your divorce? And I encourage you, and I'm sharing this with so much love, and I'm sharing this from a space of I've been doing this work for 19 years. I've helped over 500 couples. I've guided through the solace divorce journey. I am sharing with you from a space of knowing you can go through your divorce differently. It does not need to be a battle. It does not need to destroy you. It really can be one of the greatest opportunities for transformation and growth that you can be given in your life. And I'm here to help you in any way I can. And yeah, I'm sending you much love as you go through this because it's a difficult time, but it's also in that difficulty, in that darkness, all of these beautiful seeds, you are planting for your future life, for your future version of self, for your children, for your lineage. And it's all very beautiful. So I'm sending you much love.